Hello, welcome to my kitchen. Some of you have been here before. Welcome back. Now, I tell you what, just from a Zoom perspective, what we're doing today, none of you need to be on camera. We've had about 110 people register. Not everyone's joined yet. Some may have an afternoon nap instead, who knows? But you can take your camera off. So, and we'll be Zooming and recording, but you won't be on the camera at all. So don't worry about that. We're spotlighting to the people who are presenting so you can see what's going on. So if you would have your screen in speaker view rather than gallery view, that's what you'll see. You'll just see the Thermomix and the person presenting. If you're currently looking at a screen with lots of little squares, sort of like the Brady Bunch on steroids, switch it over to speaker view and then you'll just see whoever's presenting. So, and the food, because hey, that's why you're here today. So what a strange place we find ourselves. Lockdown 5. Who knows how many more there'll be, but I think we really know how to do it in Victoria now. So, and the one thing that we know how to do at Thermomix is quickly throw together a cooking experience for you guys to jump on and entertain and inspire you. Now, I had a look at the registration list today. A lot of you are already Thermomix owners, probably looking for that, exactly that inspiration and entertainment. But I did notice there's quite a few of you that don't have a Thermomix yet, or maybe have an older model and are maybe thinking about, well, what does this TM6 do? So if you are currently a Thermomix owner, but not a TM6 owner, I will tell you that the language is still the same: time, temperature, speed. What you do get with the TM6 is a lot of extra modes, and you are going to see some of those today. Now, some of the extra modes are things like slow cooking, which we're not going to show in a sort of 90-minute class. But if you would like to know more about that, please reach out to whoever invited you today and he or she can explain to you how that works in the Thermomix. We are very excited to have 9 dishes today. The other day when we went, right, lockdown, let's do a class. And everyone's like, I'll show something. So we all kind of do it based on, in a lockdown situation, well, what were you going to make anyway, or what's taken your eye lately? So we have recently had a new cookbook launched, and we've also had a couple of new collections on Cookidoo. So some of the recipes you'll see today are from either the cookbook or the new collections. What you'll also find, a couple of you have messaged me to say that you couldn't find the recipes on Cookidoo. That is because we are using recipes from some of the international platforms. So you will notice on Cookidoo that your default platform is Australia. However, if you want to go into your settings, you can update that to include other countries as well. So a lot of us include all the English-speaking countries, and we do find we get a lot of our recipes from the UK platform as well. They have the UK and Ireland platform has a huge range of recipes, but globally now there are over 70,000 recipes. So I think that video said 40,000+. So that's how many have been launched in just 2 years since the TM6 came out. Now, the other thing for those who are not owners yet and are thinking to purchase, Thermomix have recently announced a price rise, which is effective from Tuesday. So the current price is $2,269, and from Tuesday will go up to $2,359. So this is the cheapest you will ever get a Thermomix, ever. We haven't had a price rise I've been with Thermomix for 8.5 years. We haven't had a price rise for a really long time. So this is, just to cover, as you would have noticed, a lot of things have gone up since COVID, and with cover administration costs, etc. So most people have been very accepting of this, and we were actually quite excited that it was only $90 because we thought it would be more. So I lost a bet there. But so we do have payment options available as well. So we do have a 3 payment option, which is a credit card only. 3 payments over 3 months on a credit card. We do have 24 months interest free, which is an online application which is approved in a few minutes online. Now, what it does is get you to upload your bank details, which automatically sends your last 3 statements to Zip. And it is actually looked at by a computer, and they have access to it for 7 minutes, and then that information disappears. So if you'd like to do that option, that's how that works. And all they're looking for is that you have money going in, more money going in than going out. That means you can afford to pay what you need to pay to own your Thermomix. But one of our most popular options, and particularly last year, and with this COVID thing not going away, it has continued to be popular, is that you can come on board as a consultant and earn your Thermomix. So You'll see today we have such a great team, and you're only meeting not even half of them today. So we have 24 amazing people in our team. What I love about our team is that we all cook differently at home. We're very multicultural, so we bring a lot of experience to the table, pardon the pun, and we can really reach out to each other with going, oh, I want to make an Asian dish or a French dish or an Italian dish or whatever it might be. And we've all got this knowledge that we share. So we've all become far better cooks as a result of that. So what I'm going to do, I'm going to quickly show you my machine, and then just for those who haven't seen it or don't know how it all works, and then I'm going to shoot you over to our first presenter today. But this is the humble TM6. We do actually have a hashtag called the humble brag, because when you make things in the Thermomix, it's so easy, but people think you've gone to a lot of trouble. So here we go. This is what we call the home screen, and this is time, temperature, and speed. So whichever one is large is the one that you're controlling with that dial there. Now, if you have TM31, it's the same language as the time, temperature, and speed. The difference here is that you can also cook guided or with modes. So you can still do manual cooking on a TM6. Some people are concerned that with following recipes, they're committed to following a recipe. Our recipes are called guided recipes, which means you're still in control. So from here, I can swipe to the right there. Hello, Michelle, what would you like to cook today? I can type in here an ingredient, or I can type in here, I might type curry and all the curries will come up. I might type pumpkin and then all the pumpkin things will come up. So it could be pumpkin pie, pumpkin soup, pumpkin curry, pumpkin slice, so pumpkin frittata, so pumpkin donuts, in fact. So it'll give you all the things with that ingredient. Now from here, I can scroll down and just see, I have actually personalized my account. So clearly I like my sweets because these are the things it's recommending to me at the moment. And it gives you latest recipes, latest collections. So lots of information through here. The beauty of this is that it looks exactly the same here as it does on your laptop, iPad, phone. So whatever device you're looking at, the setup is the same. So you're not learning lots of things. Those with teenagers, and I shouldn't even say teenagers, you know, I've got children who are 10 plus, and basically anyone who can read, and that younger generation, you don't even know how to, you don't even have to show them how to use it. It's so intuitive, and they're so used to screens that they just go on and next thing you know, your kids are cooking dinner. So who wouldn't be happy with that? So then if I go in the other direction, this is where all the modes are. And these are the first three there, scales, dough, and turbo, are what you will have on any model Thermomix that you own. All the others are new. So pre-clean, blend, egg boiler, kettle, warm up, thicken, rice cooker, fermentation for yogurts and things, slow cook, and sous vide are all new and specific to the TM6. Now, I won't go into each one of them in detail now. However, if there's one in particular you're interested in, or more than one, please reach out to your consultant or even pop it in the chat. And then when we're having some cook time later, we can talk about that specific one that you guys might be interested in. So what I will do is, without further ado, we are going to pop over to the gorgeous Yolaine, who is going to make us a quiche Lorraine today. Over to you, Yolaine. We can see you, but we can't hear you, hon.
Can you hear me now?
We certainly can.
Yep, cool. Hello, everyone. Welcome to my kitchen in Carnegie, and lockdown number 5. I think we've all done it before. And this is hopefully going to take your mind of it for the day. And hopefully I can teach you a thing or two about quiche, because I have made a lot of quiche this week. I'd say about 15. So when we were discussing this menu today, and who was putting their hand up for what, I said, yeah, I'd like to do something. I just don't know what yet. And I'll attend to it once I'm done doing my 15 quiches for the day. I have a catering business and I had a lot of cancellation for the weekend. So decided to make quiche with all the leftover that I had. And that's the beauty about quiches, that you can use anything and everything, and it's always delicious. So, Michelle said, well, why don't you present a quiche? And I said, well, as a matter of fact, that's a great idea. So after 15 quiches, I'm going to make 2 more for you guys today. So the quiche recipe is wonderful because it showcases one of my biggest, I think, selling point for the Thermomix, which is pastry making. Making your own pastry from scratch can be very daunting for a lot of people. it's a breeze in the Thermomix. It's literally done in a matter of seconds, and it is just no comparison to what you can purchase in supermarket or even good shops, good quality pastry. The one that you're going to make at home is always going to be the best. So if you have never made pastry before, I really hope that this inspires you to make some today, have a quiche for dinner. And if you have made pastry before, I hope that I can show you a lot of my little professional tips as well. So let's go. I'm gonna move you to my screen here. And then I've got in my week, I've selected for today, Quiche Lorraine here. So this recipe, I believe, is from the UK collection. There's one in the basic cookbook as well. And what I want to show you as well today is I actually have a slightly different recipe for the one I use myself. It's my own recipe that I love to use. So I am going to change some of the measurements in that recipe, but I just want to show you how great it is that if you have your own recipes that you want to use, you can actually just follow the guided cooking and just use your own measurements. So you don't have to give up your favorite recipes just for the Cookidoo one. You can just tweak them to your own liking. So I'm going to press start cooking. And here it's asking for 50 grams of Gruyere cheese. So another important thing about quiche is the quality of the ingredients that you put in there is very important because it's really not much. It's basically you're feeling a beautiful egg and cream filling and a pastry. So the better your ingredient, the more it's going to shine. So for this, I would really recommend using a good quality Comté. So here I've got a 12 months age Comté cheese. Actually, it's 18 months, but yeah, you could use Swiss Gruyere. Just try, or your favorite cheese, really, something that you would like to have with crackers. Just get the one that is really making you the happiest. So this is my favorite cheese. It's the Comté. So I'm going to pop that in. And as you can see, I'm putting more than 50 grams because I want to taste it through. So a lot more is always better. Next. So this is the standard screen to shut your Thermomix. Put the lid on. And then it's asking me to turn the speed selector to speed 7. And this is going to grate the cheese.
Amazing that you can grate your own cheese and not have any of those anti-caking agents and extra nasties in there.
Okay, well, here is my grated cheese. So that was just 10 seconds on speed 7. I'm just going to, I think it's probably going to ask me to pop it aside next. Yeah, so transfer that into a bowl and set aside. And this is going to be for, obviously, the filling of the quiche. Okay, next. So now I will preheat my oven at 180 degrees. Grease and flour a quiche tin. I usually just spray it with oil, and I found that this is more than enough. Now we're going on to the pastry. So my recipe is actually a little bit more. I find that 150 grams of flour is not enough if you want to do a big quiche. I like mine to be sort of like nice and deep, so there's a lot of filling in them. So this is about the size of mine. As you can see, the rims are quite high. If you're using something more shallow like this, it's probably enough. But yeah, if you want to make it a little bit bigger, just 1.5 times this recipe does it. So instead of putting 150 grams of plain flour, I'm actually using 225 grams. Next, the butter. So again, I've got a little bit more. I've got 90 grams of butter instead of 95 grams. Sea salt. some water. And then this is where you can become a little bit creative. So I like to add a little bit of nutmeg in my quiche Lorraine. So I'm going to pop some in now. And I also like to add a little bit of cracked pepper and see the pepper flakes through. If I'm making something like a grilled vegetable one, I will put usually some mixed herbs as well. So a teaspoon of that in there. And this is just basically going to infuse your pastry. So whatever you're feeling, maybe you can complement it with something that you think is going to go nicely with the filling. Then lid on, and now we're going to mix for 20 seconds on speed 4.
So Yolaine's done exactly what I talked about today, where it's a guided recipe, but she's making it her own. So for someone who's not a confident cook, you can just follow the bouncing ball, follow the recipe exactly, and you'll get an amazing result. But as you go, or if you want to be more creative, you can make tweaks, you can change the size, you can change the flavors. So you are really still in control of your cooking.
All right, so now I'm going to take it out onto my mat. So I'm just going to shift everything around so you can actually see my mat now. And just gather all of this into a bowl. Now you saw it only took 20 seconds to make this pastry, and this is why the Thermomix is so amazing. Pastry is something where you don't want to overwork your gluten. So sometimes people have failed and pastry shrinks because they have overworked the gluten. With 20 seconds, it's literally just blending everything together, and then you just gather it like this into a bowl. And the next step will ask you to, actually this one is rolling straight away. Okay, this is what I'm doing anyway, because I'm presenting the whole thing in one go. But if I was at home, I would actually rub this and let it rest for at least half an hour so that everything is sort of like settled. A happy little pastry. But today I am demonstrating everything in one go. And as you can see, the pastry is, you know, not falling apart. It's still holding really well together, even though it's just been made. So you can easily just roll it like this.
I think what was good to see, Yolaine, too, is that it's very crumbly when it comes out of the Thermomix, and people who've never made pastry before might not think that that's correct. So yeah, just to
you might be tempted to keep mixing until it comes together.
Yeah.
But actually, it only took a few seconds to come together. I've been naughty. I haven't actually looked at the recipe. I want to show you blind baking. So no, it's not blind baking. So you can make a quiche without blind baking it. This is completely fine. What you might find often is that you might get a little bit of a pocket in the middle, in the center, that nearly feel like it's a bit doughy. It's not that it's not cooked, it's actually cooked, but it's more because it didn't get a chance to fully sort of like get into that crusty part. So I prefer to blind bake my quiche if I have time. If you don't have time and you just want to make it, you know, within half an hour, just go and put the filling straight away. But I just want to give you a few tips about blind baking. So we're going to roll this. By the way, these thermomats, they're wonderful. They're a silicone mat, and as you can see, it's got the different sizes for when you're rolling pastry. They're a host reward, I believe, and if you've got some guests today attending, you can get your hands on one of these either for free or for a very heavily discounted price. So I love using these when I'm rolling my pastries. I'm going to add a little bit of flour on the top just to stop it from sticking. And you want to roll it to about 1/2 centimeter thickness. So still, you know, fairly thick, because the pastry is delicious. We don't want to just have it disappearing. I'm actually going to use, where's my dish? Sorry, I'm hardly prepared properly.
I think I should let everybody know that Yolaine is actually, well, you can probably guess the accent, but French, and she's actually a pastry chef by trade. So these tips are professional tips that you're getting here, everybody. But as a non-professional here, I can tell you I've made this quiche and just followed the recipe, and it still works out really great, quick family meal as well. But these are all the hot tips today from a pro.
Well, actually, yesterday we had lots of leftover after I finished sort of like making all the quiches, and I said, oh well, why don't I make a quiche with everything that I've got here? And it was actually the most delicious quiche I've ever made. It was gorgonzola cheese with roasted vegetable. There was zucchini, cauliflower, and mushrooms with loads of grated cheese on top, and it was just amazing. So I really recommend the roasted vegetable and cheese combo. It's delicious.
Yum. It's a bit like when you make that last pizza with all the leftover toppings that are sitting on the board. After the family will make theirs, and then I just put whatever's left on mine, and it's usually the best one.
Exactly. All right, so now a little tip to transfer this into this. Use your rolling pin and delicately bring it over, lift it up, and I did not grease my tin. So there we go. And then just slowly roll it over like such. And then just gently push those edges down. As you can see, this dough is fantastic. It holds together so well. It's not cracking. It's not making any holes. It's really lovely to use. It's nearly the consistency of Play-Doh, but just a lot easier to roll out.
And tastier too.
Yeah. So
it was actually this dough that, because I was always one of those people who was afraid of pastry. So it was actually this recipe that got me over the fear of pastry all those years ago.
If you've never made pastry, this type of pastry is the best to start with and have success with. All right, so now everything is sort of tucked in. I've got all my angles nicely tucked away in the corner. You can either sort of like push your finger and break it around like such, or if you have a lot of overlapping, which I don't have a lot, you can go like this with the rolling pin and just roll it over like this, and then get rid of all of the sides. There you go. So what I would do now if I was blind baking is I would probably let it rest for 10 minutes in the fridge again. Again, optional, but I'm a creature of habits, and I've just been doing it. I don't know if it does anything, but it's a bit like, superstition. If I don't do it, it's not going to work. Now, an important thing as well is to dock your pastry, regardless whether you're blind baking or not. That will stop it from, if you don't dock it, basically what can happen when you cook it is that it can create a bubble in the middle that will sort of rise. I don't know if you've ever had that when you bake something, you sort of have like the middle sort of rise. So pricking it in a few angles like this will prevent this from happening and will help the pastry to cook more evenly as well. So there we go. Now for blind baking, there's a few options. You can have beans or weights or anything you want. I will first show you something that you can probably do without purchasing anything. You probably have, this is baking paper. You could either put it like this and put your weight, whatever it is. You could do it with foil as well. Just make sure that you really cover. What's important basically is to make sure that you don't just put the weight down the bottom. It has to reach the level of your quiche, because what will happen if you don't have it all the way up is that it's going to bake, and then the edges of your quiche are going to start going down because they have nothing to sort of keep them against the side of your tin. So whatever you use in the middle, this is what you need to do. You need to make sure that you have enough of your weight. So the easiest thing to do is to use rice. So just get the cheapest packet of rice from the supermarket And just, you know, allocate this. You can reuse it over and over and over. This is just my baking rice. And you just pour it in and fill it up to the top. So make sure that your paper actually go above the edges so that you don't have grains of rice that go everywhere. And then once you remove it, so what would happen now is that you would bake this at 160 degree, not 180, 160 for 15 minutes. And then remove gently this with all the weight, and then put it back in the oven for another 10 to 15 minutes to sort of like cook the middle part of it. And this is what you get after. So this is cooked and it's ready to get the filling in. The professional way, what I use, but you have to have a high quality Glad wrap. This is something that I got from Chef's Hat. It's the one that they use in commercial kitchen, and this will give you the most professional result. So make sure you don't use just the one from the supermarket though, because that one will melt. So yeah, just make sure that if you use this method, you have a Glad wrap that is made to go at high temperature. So I put one in that way and then one across like this. If you have baking paper, this is basically the same technique. You can just really tuck it in and know that you're really against all those edges. And this is what gives you that sort of exact perfect quiche result. And then pour your rice like this in the middle. Making sure that it's all the way around. And then I just gather this piece like this in the middle. And then bake it for 15 minutes, remove the middle, and then another 10 minutes at 160. All right, so let's go back to our recipe. So this is my blind bake that I prepared earlier. If you don't want to blind bake it, just go straight from raw pastry and carry on. So now we have the filling. So this is bacon. I've got Käsefleisch. It's a really good quality sort of bacon, which is my preferred choice. It's very similar to lardon, which we would use in France for this dish. So just gather that in the middle. And then, oh, okay, sorry. Here they are actually mixing and cooking the lardon. This one is already cooked, so I don't need to do that. So here you would put your bacon pieces in there, saute it, and then drain it into your simmering basket. If you're using Käsefleisch, you don't have to do that because it's already cooked and smoked. Then we're going into filling. So 4 eggs, 50 grams of milk. I'm putting 75 grams because I'm doing 1.5 times. 100 grams of creme fraiche or cream. I'm putting a lot more.
Which one do you use, Yolaine?
I actually love the sour cream from Aldi. I think it's really, really nice. Or the one in the little square box from Woolworths, like just the cheap one on the top. They're actually the closest thing to creme fraiche that I know from home. So,
do you buy full fat or light?
Oh, definitely full fat.
Excellent, good tips.
So some salt, some pepper. I like to add a little bit more grated nutmeg in there. And now we're going to mix this, and then we're just pouring on top and it's going in the oven. Sorry, I'm taking a lot of time with this, aren't I?
A little bit, but you've given a lot of great tips, so I don't think anyone minds. We've got nowhere to go, so it's okay.
Okay, so then it asks to distribute this mixture over the bacon and sprinkle with cheese. So there's my mixture. Just pouring it over. As you can see, I've got just enough. And then sprinkle that yummy cheese. And lastly, I like to put a bit of cracked pepper. I think it looks pretty on the top. So now this is going to go in the oven for, what do they say? 25 minutes. Mine will take more because it's obviously thicker. So if you've made just the basic one from the recipe, 25 to 30 minutes at 180 degrees is probably enough. Mine will probably need about 40 minutes, but I will check it after 25 minutes just to turn it around and just add 10 minutes at a time until I'm happy. It's basically cooked once. It's not really sort of wobbly. You can feel that it's sort of set. But I will see you at the end of this with the baked result.
Thank you so much, Yolaine. So many good tips there. We're going to now head over to the gorgeous Linda, who's going to show us an Asian style rice with eggs and vegetables. Hi, Linda. Oops, Linda, you're sideways, darling.
Huh?
You're sideways.
I'm sideways.
Yeah, Alex, how's the tech?
Yeah.
There we go. Well, we were all sideways and you were the right way.
There you go. Hi, welcome to my compact kitchen. And I'm just getting rid of that echo.
Okay.
So today,
Good.
let me just turn that off, Sue. So today we're making Asian style rice with eggs and vegetables. Okay, so start cooking. So now, for ease and convenience, I have already weighed my stuff out. Okay, so I'll just tear my scales. So if I've done it correctly, hopefully this is 20 grams of white sesame oil. Yeah, close enough. Okay, now we have a onion allergy in this house, so I use celery in replace of the onions. And I know this recipe as well, and I'm also putting in a clove of garlic just for a bit more flavour. Okay, next. So insert. I got to find my cap. Where is it? It's somewhere. I'm just going to put my hand here. So speed 5.
Linda, the cap on the table.
Whereabouts?
That one right there, right in front of you. Right in front of you. Don't worry about it.
Okay. So now it's asking now for my carrots and in large pieces. And I have already weighed these out. Only I'm using the rest of the carrots as part of my other vegetables. So they're in. So not too bad. Okay.
Linda, that thing, those caps that you're using.
There it is. Found it. It was just in a caught underneath things. Okay. So now 4.5.
Oh, Linda, we've lost audio, darling.
There we go.
Oh, there we go.
So I can see a few pieces of carrot are not quite chopped up, so I might just re-chop this a bit. Right, let's go back. So back to 4.5. The reason I love doing this dish is because it's all in one. Yeah, we're now fully chopped. Okay. Now, again, I've already chopped up all, I used some cacciatore. I couldn't actually find other things in the fridge, so I just used cacciatore and replaced the bacon. So that's close enough. Okay, 30 grams of soy sauce. So I've already done my soy sauce. That's in. Next, sugar, and that's in. And then, see, I think I was doing it before and I really had put my measuring cup out of the way. Okay, so now, speed soft. Okay, so this is now going on for 7 minutes, okay? So then I think the next stages, I need to then also put my veggies in the aroma dish, and then after 15 minutes, I put in the tray with baking paper, and I have whisked eggs up, and I just lay them in there, and then that cooks into an omelette, sort of. Well, it's just eggs. And then I cut them up. So are you going to come back to me, Michelle?
We are. So can you show us, have you got all your, hello puppy in the window. We can see your puppy in the window. Hey, have you got all your veggies in your aroma so we can have a look at the veggies that you're going to pop in?
I can't hear.
Have you got your veggies?
Yeah, oh yeah, I can do the veggies now and show you.
Yeah, that's what I just thought. If you show us that. So what Linda's doing is she's got veggies there.
So the aroma, and it calls for 150 grams of, 400, sorry, of veggies, which I've done.
So you've got, there, zucchini, capsicum.
Then it calls for later the tray with my piece of baking paper, which I put out somewhere.
That's all right. You don't need the baking paper at this minute, but you were just explaining that you're going to line that tray with the baking paper. Linda?
Yeah, I'll just look up at it, please.
Linda, you don't need that right now, hun. You were just explaining you were going to line the baking tray, the aroma tray. There you go.
Punch up your paper.
Yep.
And then I've got to wet it as well. And then I'll be using the tray.
Like that.
Just wet this.
So, Linda, we'll come back to you when your egg's cooked.
Thank you, Linda.
Linda?
You can't, just tell me you can't hear.
Yeah. Okay. So I've wet my baking paper and my eggs, which I'll just whisk a little bit more. Yep, and I just then lay the eggs in like that. Okay, so that goes in for the last 7 minutes on top of the veggies. So, and that's what it is. So that's my dish, and I'll see you at the end when I pull out the egg and cut it up as well. Yeah. And I'll also be cooking rice as well. Okay. So,
thanks, Linda.
We'll head back to you, Michelle.
Yes, coming back to me. Hi, guys. What awesome tips we've seen so far. So what I'm doing today is, it's called a pull-apart pizza sun. Now, what I wanted to do was I wanted to show you this because all of you have seen us make dough before, and before you saw Yolaine make pastry. So I didn't feel that me showing you make the dough was important. But what I was thinking was, if you haven't cooked something like this before, I know the first time I did, I looked at it and went, that's too hard, and I moved on. Or you get to something, if there's, you know, more than 10 steps, you get to the third or fourth step and go, no, I'm not doing that. So I don't know if that's you. If that's you, give me a little hands up or a yes, that's me in the chat box, because that's how I used to be, particularly pre-Thermomix. So there's a few cool things with this recipe. So with this recipe, I have pre-made the dough and I've pre-made the filling, because I thought the key to this and what we wanted to do today was to really talk about the assembly. So I have preheated my oven and I've lined my baking tray. And now there's all these instructions. So I'm going to flip you around to me, because basically what it wants us to do is make 2 pizzas from the dough that I've made. Now I have made this recipe before. So the tip that I'm going to give you to make it a little bit easier is that when I made my dough, I actually divided it in half. So I had sort of 2 balls rather than 1. And in doing that, I'm just going to oil my dough. Some people like to use flour, some people like to use oil. And because I've got the fancy mat like Yolaine, I'm going to put it in the center of the circle. But what I like to do, and this is a great tip if I'm making pizza or anything, is just using the heel of your hand, get some oil on there and just roll it around into a circle. Because this is one of those dishes, and we talk about, you know, I said before about the humble brag. This is one of those dishes that you can, you know, take to a party when we're allowed to do that. So you can see that's made a beautiful circle already. And I'm just going to make it a little bit bigger with my rolling pin there. And now that's going to be ready for me to use in a few minutes. Okay. So here's my mixture. So the mixture almost comes out in a bit of a paste consistency. So it's cheese, lots of cheese, sun-dried tomatoes, some herbs. Now I'm going to make a little confession. I actually had some ratatouille that I'd made the other night. So instead of using the sun-dried tomatoes, I didn't have those in the fridge. I've just used my ratatouille. So it doesn't really matter what you use. Now it has got ham in it as well. If you're vegetarian, just leave that out. You could add anything. You could add olives. If you don't like red sun-dried tomatoes, just use capsicum, roasted capsicum or something like that. So I'm going to bring in my other tray first. That's been sitting here. And what the recipe says to do is to put, and it's actually got pictures on the screen, but to put a mound in the middle. Now it does say to do it with a bowl, but I'm just going to use my hands because I did it with my hands the other day and it sort of worked quite well. And then almost like, it's like a sausage roll mixture almost. So what I did the other day was just using my hands like that, just squeezed it together and placed it around in a circle. So you need to leave a gap between the centre dome and a gap on the edge so you can close those up as well. So that's how we get our sunshine. So we're just, now my confession is the reason I sort of picked this dish and sort of felt like I'd know how to do it is because there is a dish on Cookidoo called choc hazelnut brioche. So it's basically a dessert version of this where you layer 2 pieces of a sweet dough or brioche dough and Nutella in between. In fact, I think it's more than 2 layers. It might be 3 or 4, can't remember now. But either way, it's this same concept where you are then cutting almost to the center, and you'll see what I mean in a moment, and then twisting them. And it's just all about just making it look really pretty, but it's so easy to do. So it's one of those things where you look like you've done something amazing, which you have, but it hasn't been too hard to do. Just wipe my hands. So you can see there that I've got that ready to go. And then using the same method that Yolaine used before, I am going to pick up actually, I might just pick up this with my hands. Let's see how this works. Oh yeah, there we go. And I'm just going to layer that on the top there. Now, the beauty of this dough is it's very forgiving. So, and you know, when you're making these things, nothing needs to be perfect. Everyone loves that home cooked kind of rustic look. So, you know, when things are perfect now, it makes you think they've been processed. Whereas if something's a bit irregular, you know that someone's actually taken the time to make that by hand. And now it's going to do the same thing here and just push that down. Now to help you with the next step, you can get a bowl and just stick it over the side like that, because the next step is to make our rays of sunshine. So we need to make, and I'll just do a few of these and do the rest off camera, but basically we're cutting it into 16. I'll do this half and just show you what the instructions say to do. Now, the other thing you'll notice is a lot of our recipes now have videos. So there are actually, this recipe does actually have some little videos in it. And actually, I should say, I mentioned before, we were inspired by recipes because of the new book that we've just come out. This actually is the new book, from the new book. So, and the thing about the new book is it's called Creating Something Incredible Together. And actually, I think Susie's going to show it to you. I can show it to you as well. So I'm just going to start with these four and just show you the next step. So now to create our rays of sunshine, what you want to do is just pick up each one of these and just turn it onto its side. That's it. So I'll just show you with a couple of others. And again, it's that it sticks a little bit. Just pull it apart. Again, it doesn't really matter how that goes. And you just continue that the whole way around until you've got 16 rays of sunshine. So what I'll do in the interest of time, now I couldn't see the chat or anything in there while that was happening. Are there any questions of what I've done?
I don't think there's any questions, but someone made pizza pockets last weekend, but this looks so much easier apparently.
Oh, there you go. Well, there you go. So just in the interest of time, I'll do the rest of that off camera, but all I then need to do is brush it with some egg and throw it in the oven. And it's about a 20-minute cook. So it's actually quite a quick cook because there's nothing raw in it. So it's really just about crunching up the dough. So, but we will obviously come back and show you the finished product at the end as well. So we're going to head now over to the lovely Chelsea, who's going to do some muesli bars for us today. Hey, Chelsea.
Hi, everyone. Welcome to my kitchen. I've decided to do the wheat, nut and dairy-free muesli slice today. I thought it was a good option to have just to show how quick you can make something that is really healthy for the kids. There's no refined sugar. It's something also that can be used, you know, for school lunch boxes and kinders without the nut. So what I have done is I have saved this into my week. I'll just bring you down in closer to my screen. I hope you can see that okay. I've saved it in my week. And then I'm just going to hit start cooking. I've already preheated my oven and I have lined my tray ready to go. Okay, so it's asking, my first few things is some quinoa, some linseeds and some chia seeds, which I've got all ready to go in here. So just popping those into the bowl. And then I'm going to pop on my lid and it's asking for 20 seconds at speed 9. So this is just going to mill those up. Okay, next, so you'll see that that's, sorry, it's just a bit slow. Really milled that into a really nice fine powder. So you can see you don't need to buy these types of different types of flours and things. You can mill them up in your Thermomix. I'm just transfer that into my bowl. Okay, sorry, okay. Now my next step is some apple. And it's saying cut into quarters. So I've just got those in some nice segments there, 70 grams. So you can see how quickly, so this is just 2 seconds at speed 5. how quickly you can grate that carrot rather than getting your grater out. It grates that up nice and fine. Scrape down the sides. And then we're going to just now add a lot of our dried fruit, which is where the sweetness comes from. So there's no need for any refined sugar. So I've got some pitted dates here. I'm using some medjool dates, some dried apricots. I've just cut those in half. And 40 grams of dried cranberries. And then this is just a quick turbo speed, so it's quite powerful for 1 second, and we're going to do that 3 times. So that's 1, 2, and 3. Oh, sorry, it's just a bit slow to open. So you can see how nicely that chops that down. So you don't have big chunks of dried fruit in there, which is great. So I'll just drop those down. I think this is a really nice snack to have at home, something quite healthy to have. So just some rolled oats now in, and some rice bubbles. Some coconut and some coconut sugar, some sunflower seeds, some avocado oil. So just 50 grams of that. I'll just pour that straight in. Got 3 eggs. And they go. And instead of honey, I am going to use rice malt syrup. Just so I do have an 11-month-old, so I'm rather than she can't have honey, so I'm just going to use rice malt instead. So 50 grams straight in. Over, that's okay. And then our reserved seed mixture, in it goes. And then we're just going to give that a quick mix all together for 30 seconds at speed 3. I'll then transfer that into my tray, and it will go into the oven for about 15 minutes. Just be a little bit wide.
These recipes are so great, aren't they, Chelsea? The sort of cost saving for not buying muesli bars and things to go to school and knowing exactly what's in them.
Exactly. That's what I love about it, Miss. There's no added preservatives or extra sugars. It's, you know, and it's, as I said, just the sugar comes from your sweets, your dried fruit. So, which is great. So mix, I'll transfer that into my tray. And as I said, pop it into the oven for 15 to 20 minutes, and I'll be able to show you this at the end.
What size tray have you got there, Chelsea? Just so we can.
I've just got a rectangle tray.
Oh yeah.
Just a normal slice tray.
Yeah, beautiful.
Just a small one. So nothing too big. Just a standard tray. Yeah.
Just a medium-sized tray. Beautiful. I love it. I think that's one of the things I remember being a big realization to me years ago. Thinking, you know, when you're making a healthy choice by buying a muesli bar at the supermarket, they're often full of sugars and things, whereas to make it yourself, you just know that it's not. If you buy a Mars bar, you know you're not making a healthy choice. But a lot of people
that's
make
right.
healthy choices with those things and can get a bit caught out. So awesome. We look forward to seeing the finished product. So let's go over to the gorgeous Lianne, who's waiting patiently to show us her amazing dish. Hi, Lianne.
Hi, everybody. Welcome to my kitchen. Today I'm going to cook something using the high heat function. So this is a new function that's only available for the TM6, which is really exciting. And today I'm going to do what we call Heong prawns, which is like golden prawns. It's quite aromatic, and it's
Where did you get your prawns, Lianne?
I just get them from Coles, really. But anywhere that you feel comfortable getting your prawns. Yeah, so it's asking me to distribute it evenly throughout my bowl. And then this is the splash guard, which we will use mainly for the high heat function. So it's asking me to put that on my lid. And it's now going to do the high heat for 4 minutes. So in the high heat, you cannot actually change the speed because it's preset for you. So it's just the time and we'll go. So while that's happening for 4 minutes, I'm going to talk to you a little bit about the high heat function and what I use it for. I don't know if you can hear me with that. Can you hear me?
Yes, you can hear.
All right, cool. I'm going to show you what I've actually done just prior to our cooking class today. And I've also done it a few days back. So these are some things that I have actually used the high heat for. So this morning I actually made some sliced garlic chips using the high heat function. So the beauty of this is you doing the whole deep frying almost without needing to clean up your kitchen stove because everything is kind of done in there. And the best thing about these garlic chips is they are really delicious. And also you actually can keep the oil after straining and that becomes like a garlic oil. So I actually use this garlic oil in my dish today. So that just gives it an extra flavor if you like. And one of the dishes that I made recently is nasi lemak, which is a coconut rice dish, which has different components that you eat it with. So I made a beef rendang, and usually part of the dish is making fried peanuts, which is what I used the high heat function for as well. And also fried dried anchovies. So it just gives, it's a really crunchy texture. I don't know if you can hear it. I was crunching it. Yeah, but it's just something that is actually really easy to do because you actually don't have to worry about oil splattering. You don't have to worry about burning it as well because everything is kind of controlled in that setting.
I love too that doing those garnishes. It makes it very like restaurant quality, doesn't it? When you're
it does
out and then putting all those beautiful garnishes on top.
Yeah, that's right. And the best thing about it is I usually, when I do it traditionally, I have to always keep an eye on it. Whereas when I do it in the Thermomix, I can just set it and let it go. And I know that I'll come back to it all done in perfect condition. Yeah. You cannot use the high heat function manually. You have to actually use it through Cookidoo. And the one that I'm using today is actually through the Malaysian Singapore platform, which they actually have a new collection for high heat stuff. And the blades move for one round and then it stays constant, allowing the oil to brown whatever ingredients you have in there, if that makes sense.
Yeah, no, it does make perfect sense. So it replicates you standing at the stove stirring and then you'd stir and then you'd let it sizzle. So the Thermomix does that. It stirs it and then it lets it sizzle and then it stirs it again. So it's...
Yeah, that's right. So I use it a lot for condiments, but Michelle, you said that you use it for quite a lot of other stuff too.
Yeah, so well, pre the TM6, I mean, my kids love tacos. And whenever I say, what do you want for dinner? They go tacos. And the one thing I used to not like about tacos was standing at the stove cooking the meat because you couldn't really do that in the TM5 or the TM31. So you know, and because I'm used to cooking at a Thermomix, I'm not really a big fan of standing at a stove. So, but now that there's the high heat, you can actually just go in and look up beef tacos and do that way. And the other thing that we do a lot is I'll do steak sandwiches for dinner. So Lianne mentioned that you can only access the high heat through recipes, but what they've done, because people go, but what if I just want to cook a bit of steak, or what if I just want to fry some onion? There are actually high heat collections to just cook onions or just cook steak. So the beauty of that is that I can slice up steak, cook it in there, and then I buy nice ciabatta bread, or make nice ciabatta bread, which depending on what time I've got, and then make steak sandwiches with that. And that, again, it's set and forget. So put the steak on and walk away. So, oh, those prawns ready already.
Yeah, they are.
Wonderful.
And they smell incredible. Yeah, so traditionally you could also use clams for this dish. Not that I've tried, but that would be probably my next thing that I tried. But they are done.
Oh.
So I'm just going to pop this in a thermoserver, which is great because it's going to keep my prawns nice and hot when it's ready to pop back in. Thermoservers are one of my favorite things because I use it pretty much every time I use my Thermomix. It does keep your food hot and cold for 2 hours. And it's also available as a host reward. So yay. Cool. So I've done that. Now I'm going to do like this thing that's going to coat the prawns, which is like an aromatic concoction. So it's asking for me to place a few things which I've already prepared. So garlic, shallots, ginger, and a bird's eye chili, which I've de-seeded, but you don't have to if you love your spice.
Do your kids eat that, Lianne, with the chili?
No. This is an adult dish.
Yeah.
Also some dried shrimp, which I have soaked and drained, so it's nice and soft, because when you get dried shrimp it's quite hard, so you do have to soak them before you use them. And then I am now going to chop that up. 5 seconds, speed 6.
The thing I love about the dish Lianne's doing today is that it's a main meal and it's ready in about 15 minutes, I think, in total, isn't it, Lianne?
Yeah, it is.
20 minutes.
It's a really quick dish.
Really quick dish, but again, a really lovely, something you'd order takeaway and pay a fortune for.
All right, so I don't know if you can see that, but that was for 5 seconds. So everything is kind of really finely chopped, which is something I love, because if I had to do that with my hands, that would take a really long time. All right, so done. Press next. 30 grams of cooking oil. So I'm again using the garlic oil that I had previously.
That's such a great idea.
Yeah, and the oil you could keep it for a while in a jar actually. So I definitely recommend doing the garlic chips and then keeping the oil. You could also do the same for shallot oil. So you slice the shallots as well and do exactly the same process. And shallot oil is really good in Asian noodle dishes. Yeah, so that's another tip. Lemongrass, which I've kind of smashed and bruised. Curry powder. And you can any powder you prefer actually. I use Barbo's, but that's because that's the curry powder I have in my fridge. But I'm sure a lot of people also have Cane's, which I'm pretty sure will work quite well too. Curry leaves. And then now that's going to saute for 6 minutes. And after this process, I'm going to add the prawns back for it to kind of coat in that delicious aromatic sauce. And then I'll see you back when the dish is finished.
Thanks, Lianne. That's awesome. Great tips. I don't know if it was you or someone else last time who said that you could, things like lemongrass, you could put in the freezer. So you've got it on hand, because particularly for people who aren't doing Asian cooking all the time, things like ginger, chili, lemongrass, all of those sort of things, you can actually have them in the freezer and just bring them out when you need them.
Yeah, even curry leaves as well. So I am very lucky because I have lots of Indian colleagues at work who have curry leaf plants, and they would literally just bring in the curry leaf plants. So I'll grab quite a big bunch, take them off the stock and just freeze them in the freezer and use whenever you need to. Because it's quite difficult. Sometimes it's really hard to get curry leaves, and sometimes it's also really expensive. Yeah, so.
Yeah, good tip. So, and that's one of those things too, that people have the tree and they can't use it all. So they want to give it, they want to share it. So yeah, beautiful. Well, thank you so much. We will see your gorgeous dish at the end, and we're going to pop over to Susie, who is going to tantalize us with dessert.
Thank you, Michelle. Hi, everybody. Welcome to my kitchen in Aspendale Gardens. And as Michelle mentioned earlier, this is the new cookbook from Thermomix, Creating Something Incredible, which arrived in the mail for me the second week of school holidays. So it was a really nice surprise. So actually, the day that it arrived, my son had just gotten braces on his teeth that day. So he just come home, and I really wanted to get into this cookbook and try some recipes, but my poor son, he couldn't have anything apart from really soft food. So I had to look through it, and we decided to make the peanut butter custard and peanut butter and chocolate recipe. So it was a really nice, simple recipe to start off. So as Michelle said, this is a really amazing cookbook. I wish I had time to show it all to you. So I think there's almost 150 recipes in it. But yeah, so because of time, I better move on and start with the custard, a really simple recipe. So custard is one of the first things I actually saw at a demo when I saw the Thermomix demo, I think, more than 8 years ago. And really impressed me that you could make quick, easy, additive-free desserts so quickly in a Thermomix. And so lots of variations you can do with custard as well. And of course, fantastic in winter, and the kids love it. So another thing about this cookbook, some of the recipes have already been added to Cookidoo. So I realized that it's actually available on Cookidoo as well. So I've started it off and put it into my week. The first part of the recipe is to place a bowl onto the mixing bowl lid. And just a little hack that I did, I actually didn't put a mixing bowl. I put the 4 individual dishes that I'm going to use later. And I just use one glass so that you can see later for display purposes. So just weigh everything into the bowl on top. So I've actually weighed everything. I've weighed the chocolate already, 50 grams. I've put in a little bit more of 50 grams than 50 grams because we like our chocolate here, especially in lockdown. And set the bowl aside. So what I'm going to do is make the custard and then add some of the custard in here, and then swirl the custard through for the give a marbled effect. And then I'll add in some peanut butter, what I've got left in the bowl, and then pour that through as well. So we'll have that lovely mixture of the peanut butter and chocolate custard. So just really quickly show you what we need to get started. 40 to 50 grams of raw sugar. So I just went with 40 grams because we've got a little bit of extra chocolate. 15 grams of corn flour. So I actually have run out of corn flour and didn't want to make a special trip to the shops, but I have used arrowroot powder instead of, which is a substitute for corn flour. It's gluten-free, so I'm actually going to use that today. 500 grams of milk. So if you haven't seen the Thermomix before, one thing that I love about liquids is that you actually measure the liquids by weight as well. You don't need to have a measuring cup. So we've got 500 grams. Sorry, I didn't pre-weigh the milk. Here we go, close enough. 1 teaspoon of natural vanilla extract. So I use this one that I get from Costco, the vanilla bean paste, the organic vanilla bean paste. It's a really good one for baking. I think I've just about a teaspoon left in it, just right at the end of it. And then the last ingredient, 2 eggs. Apart from the peanut butter, which I'll add in later on. And then pop it in the measuring cup, and this comes to thicken mode. So just turn the knob, and that will actually take about 8 minutes in thicken mode. Thicken mode is one of the modes in the TM6 that you can use for sauces. I've used it for bechamel sauce, hollandaise, really good for lemon curd. Sorry, my buddy loves the sound of the Thermomix, sorry about that. So yeah, that'll cook away for about 8 minutes if you want to come back to me then, Michelle.
No worries, Susie. Thanks for showing us that. Sounds like you're in an aviary.
I'll have to move it, sorry.
No, it's fine. It's fine. Well, as we say, real life, real homes, real kitchens. So I love it. I love it. Susie, we're going to thank you. We're going to see you when you're pouring that custard into that glass. And we're going to shoot over to the gorgeous Kaz, who's going to treat us with another dessert. Kaz, over to you, hun.
Oh, thank you. So hello and welcome to my kitchen. I'm going to jump right in. Now we're making a lemon drizzle cake. What I will do is I will actually bring you a little bit closer to the Thermomix screen, and I'm going to give you a couple of baking tips as I go as well. So let's just move you a little bit closer. And there's the lemon drizzle cake, and I'm going to start to cook. Now, it does ask me to preheat the oven to 170 degrees, which I've already done, and line a loaf tin with some baking paper. Now, this is the loaf tin that I'm using. It's quite a little narrow one, and as you can see, I've lined it on the bottom and the sides there. I'll just press next. Now, place 2 lemons, thin peelings of the skin only. So what I've got here, you can see I've just used a potato peeler to actually peel the lemon. Just be careful that you don't peel it too deep because you really don't want the pith. This is what I ended up with, but don't throw this out because we'll be using the juice soon. So I'll just put those peelings in there. And then we're just going to add 50 grams of caster sugar. Go and press next. Insert the lid, press next, and turn the speed selector to speed 10. And it's already preset to 10. Press next, and I'm just going to scrape down the side of the bowl with a spatula. But there's our grated lemon and sugar. It smells amazing.
That's one of my favourite smells from the Thermomix, that lemon.
Oh, I'm actually getting a flashback now to lemon and sugar pancakes, actually. So just press next again, and we're actually going to do that again just so it's nice and fine. Press next. And then again, we'll just scrape down the sides of that bowl. Okay, so one of the things, oh yeah, sorry.
No, sorry, I was just about to say, we were talking the other day about doing things in season, which is why you'd suggested that dish. Yes. Well, there are lemons everywhere at the minute. Now I'm going to add 125 grams of caster sugar. I actually saw a meme recently that said, if only people without friends need to buy lemons. And I thought it was such a funny thing that there's so many lemon trees everywhere, and a bit like we talked about with the curry leaves, not everyone can use their lemons. So it's one of those things you should always reach out. Anyone got any lemons?
Absolutely. Now we've got 175 grams of unsalted butter soft. Now really this just means that it's room temperature. So I would leave out the butter for a minimum 3 hours on your bench, even overnight. One of the things that I would recommend, I actually run a baking business myself, and for some reason, I get a lot better results when I use Western Star or any type of named butter. I don't get good results, unfortunately, if I use, like, say, Coles or Woolworths home brand butter. I'm not sure why that is. I've just got 3 large eggs here, which I've just cracked into a cup. And again, I would recommend keeping your eggs at the room temperature with the butter, just so that everything mixes at the same temperature. Just press next. And we're just going to mix this for 5 seconds. Speed 5, 20 seconds. But as you can see, everything's preset.
So the beauty of any sort of cakes or biscuits, the mixing time is generally somewhere between 6 seconds and 20 seconds. So think about how long manually, if someone said just whip up a cake, it means manual labour, flour, mess everywhere. Whereas if you've got someone popping in when we're allowed, you could actually whip up a cake in minutes.
So there's our butter and our lemon and the sugar. Okay, and now I'm just going to add 170 grams, 5 grams of self-raising flour. Now, one of the beauties of baking in your Thermomix is there is no more sifting. And 20 grams of milk. And again, I would leave the milk out, if you can, out with the butter and the eggs so that it's all the same temperature. Just press next and 15 seconds, speed 5.
So Kaz, I was going to ask you if you've ever used Aldi butter, because I use Aldi butter, and I'm no baker, but Yolaine actually just posted that she thinks the Aldi butter's great. So that's a good tip for people who shop at Aldi, because I know they don't have Western Star at Aldi, but
right. I do actually use the Aldi butter, and I use Costco butter as well. I don't know why. It's just I'm just going to scrape down the sides again, just to get that see the flour that's just on the side of the bowl. Yeah, for some reason it's just the Coles and Woolworths home brand. Everything else is fine. Okay, and just press next. And we're just going to mix that once again, just to make sure that the whole mixture is mixed in. Now, I'm using a silicone spatula, but if I'm ever going to use anything like a spatula inside the machine while the Thermomix is running, I will always use my Thermomix spatula. Okay, so transfer the batter into prepared tin. I'm just going to move you out just a little bit because I've got my tin here. Now this batter is actually, it's a little bit thick. Okay, so instead of pouring it, it really needs to be dolloped in there.
I think it's great to see some things like this, because for people who don't do this sort of thing all the time, and they go, have I done the right thing? Is that what it's supposed to look like?
Yes, exactly. Exactly. Yeah, no, it's quite firm.
But it's more like a tea cake, isn't it? When you
yes, definitely. Most definitely. Yeah. Now you'll see here another little tip with the Thermomix. You can see I've got quite a little bit of batter in there. What I'm actually just going to do is I'm just going to go home and go over to my turbo, which is one of the modes. And I'm just going to give it just a short, sharp burst of power. And then I'm going to jump back to the recipe. And what that's done is basically flicked that batter off the blade. So I don't waste as much. Okay, and it's also easier to clean. Okay, so I'll show you what I've got here. It probably fills up the tin about, say, halfway, because we are using self-raising flour. And so there's our mixture. Okay, but what I have done, just in the interests of saving a bit of time on our cooking class, here's one that I prepared earlier. So as you can see, it's a really lovely cake, a really nice colour. And look, it's not, I haven't tried the cake, but I am guilty of licking the spatula after it all went in before. And it's not overly sweet, but we do have one more step, which is our lemon drizzle, which I'm just going to show you now. But you bake this for 45 to 50 minutes until a skewer comes out clean. Now, the next step is cleaning the mixing bowl, but I've actually got another bowl. And so a lot of my customers often ask me if it's worth having another bowl. Absolutely. Sometimes they are a purchase gift or a hosting gift, or they may even be on special in the mix shop. But just as you can see now, if you did have to clean your bowl, you can just go on with your other bowl. Now it says here to leave the cake to rest for 10 minutes in the tin while preparing the lemon drizzle. Now to do the lemon drizzle, it's just simply 125 grams of caster sugar, and lemon juice, approximately 80 grams. So you remember I said just to keep the lemons that you had peeled, and it was about 1.5 lemons. Okay, so I'm going to pop on the lid, press next, and it's preset to 8 seconds, speed 8. Okay, let me just move this back a little bit. There we go. Now, one of the steps, when it just said to let the cake dry, I've just got a skewer, and you just give it, just poke it with the skewer nice and deep. And this is why your cake is warm. Okay. And then remove the cake from the tin, transfer to a plate. I've just got my rack over the plate, and you just literally drizzle this glaze. So you can see the glaze in the bottom there over the top. So this is where, remember I said that this cake isn't overly sweet. This is where you get that kind of, that sort of pop of sweetness. Now, my cake, because I had cooked it a little bit earlier, is not hot. You can imagine drizzling this over, and if that cake is still quite warm, of course, it's going to soak in. But actually, quite a lot of that is soaked in. And just really quickly, this was from a UK platform, and I found it's called Everyday Cakes, and also Simple Ideas. Just on my iPad, there was a few other recipes that came up. There was apple crumble cake, oatmeal raisin cookies, soft and chewy white chocolate chip cookies, and this one, a milk chocolate and banana cake. They all look amazing.
They do look amazing.
Yes, yes. So what I'm going to do now is I will bake my other cake. We've actually got 7 people in our house at the moment with the lockdown. So these 2 cakes will disappear in no time.
It won't last long at all. Thank you so much. Are you going to slice that up, and we'll have a quick look at it at the end if there's any left?
Absolutely. Yeah, absolutely. Absolutely. Thanks, guys.
Beautiful.
Pleasure. Bye.
Lovely. See you, hun. Right, we're going to pop over to the lovely Julie. And hi, Jules.
Hello, everyone. How are you? Yeah, I'm Julie. I'm going to be making Fruity Dream today, and this is kind of like my quick dessert. The kids want something sweet. It's something that I've always got fruit in my freezer. I've got raw sugar, and I've got egg white. So it's like a dessert I don't need to go to shops to buy. Also preservative free. So This does ask for raw sugar, but look, if you want to make it paleo or keto friendly, you can use also, say, monk fruit sweetener. I'm pretty sure that one's keto and paleo friendly, and I just get this from Woolworths. Or if you like, I mean, you can use coconut sugar. I've got a friend who had who had young toddlers, and she just decided not to even add sugar. So this is the TM6 recipe, and what I love about it is the fact that it actually cooks the egg white. So if you're pregnant and you want ice cream, you don't have to have raw egg white. So it actually cooks it as well. So what I'm going to do also is I'm going to show you how quick and easy it is to make icing sugar, because this is probably one thing that really wowed me when I first got my Thermomix. And I think it wows a lot of people actually. So I'll bring it to my screen. Hopefully you can see that okay. And let's start this recipe, and you'll see how easy it is to make ice cream. So first of all, ask for raw sugar. So like I said, if you don't want to use raw sugar, you can use castle sugar, monk fruit, coconut, whatever's in your pantry, or even omit a lot of it as well if you think it's too much sugar. So next, and then we insert our measuring cup and lid. And now for 10 seconds, it's going to ask us to turn the speed selector to 9. So this is where the magic happens. All right. Now it actually starts smoking up a little bit. It's a bit hard to see, but that's all that icing sugar. So I'll show you what it's done in 10 seconds. So I actually don't buy icing sugar anymore. So that's 10 seconds and that's looking pretty good. So now what it does is it asks us to insert our butterfly whisk. Okay, so the maximum speed for butterfly whisk is speed 4. If you ever forget, it does actually have speed 4 on there. But if you use any of the guided recipe, don't worry, because it won't go past speed 4. And it doesn't click in or anything. You just place it on the top and it sits right there. Okay, so we click next. Now we insert our egg white, and it's actually going to make like a meringue, which I've tried quite a few fruity dream recipe. I like to say, you know, I'm a bit of a fruity dream snob, but this is one of the best recipes because I've tried the one with the egg white that's raw and also cream, and this is probably one of the best recipes. So after you freeze it, it's so easy to scoop as well. So now without the measuring cup, for 2 minutes, it's actually going to cook that meringue white. So I'm going to let that egg white cook and make the meringue, and I guess we'll come back to me. Is that what we're going to do?
It is. We're going to pop to Susie and just have a look at her, if the timing's right for her custard, and we'll come back to you and have a look at your egg white.
Sounds great. I'll see you soon.
Hi, Susie.
Hi, Michelle. Yeah, so the custard that was 8 minutes on thickened mode, and that finished just a few minutes ago. So I've poured out into 3 of my dishes. There's actually 5 of us, but I'm saving a little bit of for later. So I'll just save the glass one to show you how I've got the chocolate in the bottom of the glass.
Yum.
And I'm just going to pour the custard in. That's a part of the mixture into the serving bowls. And I'm just going to press next. And I'm just going to stir the chocolate around here so you can see the chocolate pieces hopefully you can see the chocolate pieces melting in through the custard to give it a marbled effect.
It looks amazing.
And so the custard that's left in the bowl, I'm going to add in the peanut butter. So I just noticed that you said, Lianne, you mentioned the size of the peanut butter jar. It's a mega jar. And I didn't realize that Mavers, we use this peanut butter quite a bit, but I didn't realize it recently brought out a mega jar. I was doing a Woolworths online order and I ordered it and I thought, oh, that's a little bit more expensive than I thought it was. And then when the order arrived, I realized I was getting a really extra big jar. So bonus. I hear people making mistakes with their Woolworths order, but this was a really good mistake. So the next step is just to add 70 grams of the smooth peanut butter, it says, but this is actually a crunchy one, which we prefer. And I've tested and it works out fine. So I'm just going to add in 70 grams. You can add in a little bit more, a little bit less if you want. Oops, actually spilled a bit on the side, but that's okay. I'm a very messy cook. That's why I love the Thermomix, because it's so easy to clean. So I just pop the lid back on. And so yeah, just gonna mix the peanut butter through, just 10 seconds on speed 5. And when that's done, we just pour the peanut butter blended peanut butter custard on top of the chocolate custard. So immediately pour it, and then you can put a garnish on if you like. So it's quite hot, so we'll wait till the end to have it. I'm just going to pour the peanut butter part on.
Can you bring the glass to the camera, please?
Yeah,
oh, thank you.
Sorry, Michelle. My the holder in the camera is broken, and when I tip it down, it tips over. So sorry.
No, it's fine. We just want to see that deliciousness.
Yeah, so I just poured the custard that has the peanut butter blended through it. So and then I'll add some garnish onto that when we come back later. So, and I'll do the other ones as well.
Thank you so much, Susie. That looks amazing. Now, we all know there's 4 there, Susie, so we'll be counting when we come back to you to make sure that you haven't eaten it while we're gone.
Yeah, I can't count on that. I can't promise anything.
Thank you so much. Now, we are going to head over to the lovely, extremely patient, gorgeous Milan.
Hello, everybody. This is Milan Solaria here. Welcome to my kitchen in Waterways. When your friends come to your house and give you that many lemons and you have got a lot of mint growing in your house, you make mint lemonade. That's what I'm going to make now. Okay, so what I will do is move this here. Now I'm doing it from the phone. Michelle, can you guys see me okay?
Perfect, Milan, perfect.
Beautiful. Okay, so on my week, I put the recipe called mint lemonade, which is over here. And we start the recipe. Restart. Okay, start cooking. We put 180 grams of sugar, which I'm using raw sugar, but you can use any kind of sugar you want. I have made this with agave before, and it has turned out really, really good. Next, you put ice cubes. I love my little thermo server, a baby one, because I've actually got ice in there, and it keeps it nice and cool. Putting it a little bit more than they are saying in the recipe, simply because I have got extra mint and I can make use of it. They say about 6 sprigs of mint. Now I am using 3 kinds of mint. I am using normal mint, spearmint, and lemon balm. You can use any kinds of mint there. This really adds to the flavor. So I'm going to put a little bit more than it. It's asking us to put just the leaves, but I am putting the stems because I love the taste in the stems, because the real taste, I think, is in the stem. So I like to put them in like that. This must be the quickest, easiest, and the yummiest recipe ever in this world. Next, we get 2 lemons. Now, what we do with the lemons is, this is what the lemon looks like, right? We peel the lemon like so. And then we take all the pips out. And then you put 2 lemons in there. Like so. Next, insert the measuring cup in bowl. This is the measuring cup. We put it in the lid on top. And then for 30 seconds, I'm going to let it go for speed 6.
So some great tips from Milan there about, a lot of recipes will say leaves only. Depending on what the recipe is, pop the stems in as well. You get so much flavour from the stems, but also if you're a bit of a lazy cook like me, it's just one less step to do. So particularly for those of you who've got Thermomixes and make our veggie stock paste, I'm very handed with the herbs. I really recommend doing that. So apart from the rosemary, you don't want to put wood in your stock paste, but all your other herbs, just really be brutal and just throw them in.
What's that, Michelle?
Just saying that was a great tip that you said about not having to do leaves only, to use the stems for all that flavour as well.
Yeah, and what you do is I just strain it in the end. So it just makes it easier. And I just love it. So, okay, let me show you. It smells divine in my kitchen. Oh my gosh, it's so beautiful. Okay, so next we put about 1,000 grams of water.
Funnily enough, my kids wanted to have a cooked breakfast today and they wanted orange juice. And I said, well, we've actually lucky enough to have an orange tree. And I said, well, you need to go and pick oranges then. So they ran out to the tree in their pajamas and brought in oranges and made orange juice with their breakfast.
Oh, how quick is it and how yummy is it?
Amazing. And, you know, no added sugar, just natural orange juice. And it's beautiful.
Absolutely. Okay, for 20 seconds, it's going to be on speed. So we're going to start on about speed 6 or 7 and take it to 10. So.
You can achieve a lot in a minute in a Thermomix. You can actually achieve a lot in a couple of seconds as well. So for those of you who are doing these sorts of things, there is actually also a blend mode where you can be doing juices, smoothies, all sorts of things.
Okay. It is in a liquid form, and what I am going to do is I'm going to strain it here.
Look at the colour.
It's beautiful. What I am going to do, I'm going to pour it in a glass so you can actually see the colour. Guys, this is an absolutely gorgeous, yummiest drink ever with a mint lemonade. My friends have put vodka in it. I don't drink, but friends who love vodka have put that in there and they have absolutely adored it. So this is a mint lemonade made in less than about, not even 2 minutes. And absolutely delicious, absolutely yummy, and worth doing, guys. If you haven't done the mint lemonade, go do it. It's my favorite drink in the world.
Thank you so much. It's incredible, incredible. Love it. Thanks so much, Milan. And there's that great tip that it can be a healthy drink or a cocktail, which, you know, in lockdown, some of you may need.
Yes. Yum. Absolutely.
Beautiful. We're going to head back to the lovely Linda to see her. There she is.
Hello, how are you?
We're good. How are you?
Oh, good. Now we've sort of sorted out our IT issues.
Oh, that's all right.
Yeah. Okay. So I have removed the veggies. I knew that they were cooked, which was wonderful. I also did the rice off as well and put it all into the thermoserver here. And the amount of rice that was used was too much, basically. I've just put this in another bowl, so it made all that. But I'm now going to show you the egg. So that is how the egg has come out. Okay.
Come a little bit lower, Linda.
Lower?
That's it, yeah. Yeah, beautiful.
You've got the wrong camera on.
Okay.
There you go. Perfect, perfect.
Yep. So now I'm just going to cut it up using a spatula. Now.
So the funny thing about, you know, COVID and all things crazy is that I wasn't actually supposed to be here at the moment. We were going on a 3-month trip up to Cape York and doing a sort of 3-month camping trip up on this sort of east side of Australia. But anyway, we've postponed that for now. But I had definitely had my Thermomix packed and ready to go and started making a bit of a list of things that we can make that are great camping meals. And an omelette was one of them. So, you know, to do, or this, not just omelette, but this sort of dish, this kind of, you know, I say fried rice, but fried in inverted commas, a healthy fried rice where you can steam rice, vegetables and egg all at the same time to make a big meal for everybody was high on the list. So, and we found lots of caravanners and campers now have a Thermomix to avoid having lots of other accessories on board.
Yeah. Okay, so, and then just mix that through.
Oh, yum.
And as I have cooked this one before, we did add an extra bit of kepik manis just at the end. Not a lot, but just a little bit, just to put it through to keep it nice and moist.
Yum.
But that is a beautiful all-in-one dish. So that's Asian style rice with eggs and veggies.
Yum. Thank you so much, Linda. And as you said, there was extra rice there as well. So it's a great one if you're cooking for a large number of people.
Yes, oh, absolutely.
And really wanted to add some meat protein into that. Instead of omelette, you could steam some chicken tenderloins or something like that on the top as well, couldn't you?
Oh, yeah, you could do a variety of different things. Or if you're a fish lover, and I'm not, because I always go with Bruce the Shark off Finding Nemo, fish are friends, not food. I know that my partner, he would love it if there was like salmon in it, which I could easily do in the Faroma. So, yeah.
Lots of options.
Yes, exactly. Tons of options.
Perfect. So. Thank you so much for presenting today, Linda. We're going to head back over to Julie for her to finish her fruity dream, and then we're going to show you everyone's amazing dishes. Where are you, Jules? I've lost you. Hang on.
I'm here somewhere.
There you are. Found you.
I'm here.
Hi.
So I'll show you what the meringue looks like. There you go. Nice and silky.
Oh, so, wow. That's incredible.
And that's looking really, really good. I could almost lick it. So the next step is actually adding actually scrape down the side. Okay. Do that. And then, oops, I've already done that part. Now it's going to ask me to actually put in my frozen fruit. So these silicone bags I actually got from mix-it shops. So they're fantastic, reusable, and I just pop with any frozen fruit. So my kids don't really like blackberries, so I don't really get the frozen berries. So I normally just go fruit shop and just buy strawberries, blueberries, and if they're cheap, and then freeze them. So you wash them and freeze. So I'll pop that all in. So that's just whole pieces of fruit. Okay. Now it says approximately 600 to 650 grams of fruit. Okay, you can use mango, bananas, normally any fruit that starts looking a little bit sad or too ripe, I normally cut it up and pop in the freezer. So we don't like wasting. So I'll click on next. Now the good thing about this is I'll actually bring you closer to my Thermomix is there's actually on some of our videos, some of our recipes, there is actually a little video. So if I click on play, it will actually let you know what you can do. So it's just asking us later to pop our spatula and we'll stir it while it's trying to blend our frozen fruit. Okay, so I'll click close. And the great thing about this spatula is when we place it in here, it actually won't hit the blades because it's got a bit of a safety. It's got this part of it so that it won't actually, you know, ever touch the blade. So I'm going to click next. And for 1 minute, it's just going to blend. So I'm just going to stir that. All right. It's going to be very loud. I think Michelle might talk for me.
Well, we all know I love to talk.
Yes.
Oh, there we go. I love that you mute these noises. So that's just a really great tip from Julie there. I know Kaz mentioned it earlier as well. As mentioned it earlier as well, that when you're just scraping out the bowl, you can use any silicone spatula and that works really well. What you're doing here is actually pushing the frozen fruit back into the blade so the blade catches all of the fruit. Now, the other thing Julie did mention is that from the mix shop. So I just did something a bit special tricky there and added a spotlight. So we've got these amazing ice cream containers that you can get from our mix shop. So, when the kids want ice cream for me, I go, yeah, no problem, because I know that I've made a fruity dream and I know there's not a lot of sugar in it and it's just all fruit.
So I'll click next and I'm just going to scrape down the sides. And the great thing about this recipe is that even after you freeze it, it's actually scoopable. You don't need to let it sit or anything. I have found that sometimes if you use the raw egg white one, you sometimes do need to sit it for a couple of minutes to let it just thaw a little bit. So this one, my kids describe as kinetic sand. So I don't know if that's a good thing or not, but it's so easy to scoop after it's been frozen. Now, I said fruit should have a creamy consistency. If necessary, you can blend a little bit more, but I'm actually quite happy with that. So I'll show you what it's done so far. So this is in 1 minute, what the Thermomix has done with all that fruit. That's already looking pretty good to me. Yeah. But what we're going to do is, it's going to ask us to reinsert the butterfly whisk in here. So let's pop that back in. And again, like I said, it just sits on top. So it doesn't really go anywhere as long as you sit it on top. Next, now it's going to just tell me to pop the lid and the cup here. And for 1 minute, it's just going to blend again. Okay.
So now you'll notice on Julie's machine that it actually says speed 4. So you're taking the butterfly out so you can really blend up that frozen fruit at a higher speed. But now what that's doing is it's actually going to whip it. So now you're going to get it whipped at that speed 4. I love that your kids say kinetic sand, Julie. It's so funny, the mouths of babes. My kids kind of think it's more like a mousse. So, you know, I'm like, call it what you want as long as you're going to eat it. So that tends to be my motto with those things. But it really does, for those who've made frozen fruit desserts in the Thermomix before or any other appliance, a lot of them can be very icy. So when you go to serve them, as you need to let them rest for a while. Whereas with this one, having that meringue base just makes it, it's really a soft serve. So you can pull it straight out of the freezer in your ice cream container and be scooping it and serving it straight away.
Now, this is so amazing. I'm still impressed with it every time. It looks so pretty. Like, wow. This is normally so pretty that I don't even want to eat it, but we're going to have to eat it. So I will scoop it for the kids later. And you can just see that's from 600 to 650 grams of frozen fruit. Like, that's a lot of ice cream. And you just think if you buy, you know, punnets of strawberries or fruit or whatever it is, or, you know, bananas and everything, you're getting a really delicious ice cream. Like, I'll scoop it. I have to ruin it.
Oh, you've ruined it. It looks amazing.
Mm-hmm. That is so good. It's so fluffy that my kids are going to be fighting over who licks the butterfly whisk later.
Thank you so much, Julie. And I'm so glad you offered to present that today, because it's one of those things that we all make weekly for our families. And sometimes when you do something all the time, you forget the wow behind it. And it's just such a wow. So I'm really glad that you shared it with everybody today.
Well, we're going to eat ice cream. It's not too cold for ice cream, is it?
Okay, well, thank you so much, and thank you for helping with the background tech today. Julie's always on help doing the chat box and spotlighting everybody in the background as well as cooking. She's amazing. So thank you. So what we're going to do, because we know we've gone way over, but I know we've given you lots of tips, we're going to just quickly whip around and have a look at all the things that have come out of the oven. So we will pop over to Yolaine and have a look at her amazing quiche. Hello, Yolaine.
You me?
We can see you. That looks amazing.
There we go. It's here. It smells delicious. So that took about 35 minutes, I think it took, but that's a bigger one.
Are you going to cut it, or are you planning on freezing that or something?
It's a little bit, because it's just come out of the oven. It's still a little bit too soft, but yeah, I would usually sort of set it for an hour before cutting it.
Oh, okay. So can you eat them warm though? I've eaten mine warm.
Oh yeah, for sure. Yeah. But this is just out of the oven, so it's quite
too hot.
Quite hot, yeah.
Beautiful.
But I'm waiting for a few minutes, and then I'll have it with this.
All right, we might come back to you. If people want to see it cut, pop that in the chat, and we'll go and have a look at everybody else's. All right, we're going to pop to Kaz next.
Hi guys, so as you can see, there's a bit of a proportion of the cake, about this much missing, but one interesting thing, I can't emphasize enough that pricking the cake with the big stick beforehand, because you can actually see, I don't know if you can see here, but you can, I can see and I can taste the drizzle has come down through into the cake, but it was absolutely divine. I've never made this before, but it will definitely be a go-to if I have some friends over. And one thing really quickly that I forgot to mention before, if there's any bakers out there, I found this brush on the mix shop, and it's called a double header sweeper cleaning brush. And so it's got a brush here and a brush here, and you use it to brush out any flour or anything really that gets stuck in your Thermomix arms, and also around the bowl here. And it was only $14.95, a wonderful investment.
Oh, I'm so glad you brought that up, because I've actually just ordered one of those.
Oh, it is. I won't be without one now.
Awesome. Never. I love it. There you go. Hot tip from Kaz there. Brilliant. Yes. Thank you so much, Kaz.
Bye.
The recipe cake. I'm going to pop back to Chelsea now. Hey, Chels.
Hi, everyone. Thank you. Yeah, so as you can see, my slices come out of the oven. It makes quite a lot, so it's beautiful. I've cut a little piece. It does say to let it cool, but it's nice and thick, full of that yummy dried fruit. I will now portion this up, pop it into the freezer, ready for kids' lunch boxes and Kinder, so and just any afternoon snack. So yeah, it's delicious.
Beautiful. Thank you so much. I haven't made that one before. I'm really excited. And there's so many requirements for nut-free, dairy-free. So that's basically a vegan slice, isn't it? So it really...
It's got eggs. It's got eggs.
Sorry, it's got an egg. So not a vegan, but certainly vegetarian.
It's dairy-free. But you could... I also thought maybe I might melt some chocolate and drizzle a little bit of chocolate on top as well. This is a little extra treat.
Extra treat. Beautiful. That's awesome. Thank you so much. That's a brilliant...
Thanks, Mish.
Lovely. All right. Who haven't we seen? Oh, Lianne with her delicious prawns. I hope she hasn't eaten them. Hi, Lianne.
No, I haven't. I've waited. I've been good. Here you go.
Oh, wow.
They actually smell really incredible. And the prawns are all coated. And I just kind of popped some of the garlic chips on top as well for extra crunch.
Wow, they look so good. Do you know what I love about today's menu? So that really is something to show. If you're just, two people at home, some people feel like a Thermomix isn't worth it if they don't have a big family to cook for. But if it's just, if you're empty nesters and you've just got the two of you at home, how nice would it be to be eating something like that for dinner and not paying $50 takeaway because you've got a prawn dish?
Yeah, absolutely. And I think this is definitely going to be just for me and Lester anyway. But yeah, it's going to be awesome.
Lovely. Oh, that's so good. Do you know, I love the fact that a lot of the dishes today I haven't made before. So we talk about inspiring our customers, but you've inspired me, Lianne, today. So, so thank you so much for that. Right, who else haven't we seen? Susie, have you eaten all your custard yet?
No, it's still here. My 4-year-old, she was dipping her finger in it there a second ago, so that'll be hers. So she's waiting not very patiently. So yeah, so as I said earlier, it's really nice for just
hang on, Susie, let me just spotlight you, darling. Sorry. Oh, there you are. Bingo. It's
just nice if you're having guests to serve it in glass dessert bowls for the effect. It looks really nice. It is recommended in the recipe to use peanut brittle or peanuts to garnish it, but we actually love to use frozen fruit. So yeah, I've just used some raspberries and blueberries just from the freezer, just let them thaw out a little bit, and that goes really well with the custard. And my son's gone for a bike ride, so I'm reserving the big one for him. And yeah, so as I said, that was ready in 8 minutes. Could easily whip up another batch of that in 8 minutes if you're feeding a crowd, if you've got guests as well. So yeah, I'm just going to have a little taste now. Sorry, I'm off camera because I had to wedge the arm of my tripod into place, so I can't adjust it, but that's really good, really, really good.
Yummy. And you could have that hot or cold, couldn't you?
Yes, beautiful. Definitely.
Thank you so much, Susie. Thank you to everyone who presented.
Thank you, Michelle. Thanks, everybody.
Quickly, because my pull apart pizza sun is out of the oven. I'm just going to pull my camera down so you can have a look at that. And here's the picture from the book. So I think I cooked mine a bit longer because I like it sort of crunchy, but I don't think anyone's going to mind eating this for afternoon tea. I wonder if I could pass it off as dinner. I reckon I could. Thank you so much for joining us today. We have gone
mint drink, Michelle.
Pardon?
So you can have it with a mint drink.
Exactly. Thanks, Milan. Actually, having said that, I should just show you. So it says pull apart. So I will confess that I did actually cut some of these a little bit. So
yum.
And then you just pull out a piece. There we go. So it's one of those lovely dishes that's easy to serve for have on a table if you've got lots of guests, when we're allowed to do that, or just a family. Let's be honest. Just because we're cooking for our families doesn't mean we can't cook fancy fun stuff. So thank you so much for joining us. We have gone well over, but we've shared so many tips. I think we're always optimistic when we put our dishes together and we go, oh, well, I'll only speak for 5 minutes and I'll only speak for 7 minutes, and then 5 becomes 15. But that's okay. What that shows you is our passion. And that is how we all became Thermomix consultants. It's not one of those things where people go, oh, what am I going to do for a job? I think I'll do that. Not at all. It's something where you get a Thermomix and you go, oh my God, this thing changed my life. I need to share that love with other people. And however that motivation came about, sometimes it's because people are looking for a new business opportunity and they see the Thermomix and they combine the love of cooking with the love of that. I certainly didn't have a love of cooking before Thermomix, but I definitely had a love of eating. So when I could see something that could mean I could cook amazing things easily and quickly and add variety to my kitchen, that was really what appealed to me. So if you're sitting there thinking, gee, maybe I should do what they're doing, you know, you don't have to be perfect. You don't have to be an amazing cook. Just want to make food and kitchen life easier for you and your family, then please, I'm going to hang on at the end for a few minutes if anyone wants to talk to me, or shoot me an email, because you've obviously all got my email address from the registration report as well. So let me just remind you, the price will go up at 11 a.m. on Tuesday morning. So it will go from 2269 to 2359. So if you are wanting a Thermomix, don't wait until next week and pay an extra $90. Get it now and save that money and get it on your bench within the next week or so. And you will also get at the moment the mat that Yolaine and I both used today with the circles is a free gift with purchase, along with this incredible bread tin with a lid. So it means that you can actually cook square loaf bread, or you can take that off and just make a big sort of high top bread as well. So lots of options there. Thank you so much, everybody. And we look forward to cooking for you again soon. Bye.